Hello, and thank you for watching. My name is Rachel Barnett with Gentle Frog. I'm here to create videos for you to help you understand QuickBooks slightly better than you currently do. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the chat box. Thank you.
So I was just about to start doing the bookkeeping for my business when I realized that this thing happens, and I see it happen for other people, and I'm like, I can just make a video showing you what I do. Specifically, the thing that happens is that I use Wells Fargo for my business checking account. Technically, I use Wells Fargo and Relay both, but for this video, I want to talk to you about Wells Fargo. What happens is that Wells Fargo will tell QuickBooks there was a transaction that took place, and the downloaded information says business to business. QuickBooks will then start to learn when the description says this, I should suggest that, and it'll suggest a vendor name for me. I've learned that this messes me up because QuickBooks will suggest a vendor name. It'll suggest Staples, and then it'll assign it to office supplies. I'll look at the list and say, Staples, office supplies, yep, that's totally correct. The problem with this is that it will remember the last vendor name I used, and it will pre-fill that as the vendor name for every single transaction where the description is business to business. So what I've done is I've set up a rule that says, hey, when the description says business to business, I need the vendor name to say vendor name cannot be trusted, check this. And then I put a rule saying assign this to the category of ask my accountant. I've done all of this because I really want to make sure that I'm telling QuickBooks where did the money go and why did it go there. I don't want to trust it to go on some sort of funny autopilot because I can't trust it because it just won't work. So let me show you. I'll click on this one. You can see this is a Bank of America payment. The next one, this is a Gusto fee. Third one, this is an Intuit payment processing fee. So they're all different, but they all have this rule. Let me go ahead and delete the rule so you can see what it looks like when I don't have a rule, and then you'll see why I have the rule. Name, trust. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to disable it so that way I can use my rule again later after this video. See what it did? It just assumed that all of these go to Gusto, and then for me, I have Gusto set up in my chart of accounts as payroll and staffing W-2. So if we click on it, you can very much see this is a payment to my credit card. It's just a weird quirk. If I were just to let it be like this, if I didn't have a rule set up, I would look at it and say Gusto add, Gusto add. It would be later that I would just happen to discover that it's wrong. So if this is happening to you, if you're using Wells Fargo, or frankly any bank, if the suggested payee name is just consistently wrong and there's not much you can do to fix it, you have two options. Well, you have three options. Your first option is do nothing. Your second option is to make an individual rule based on the various descriptions. Or your third option is to make one generic rule like I've done here and just said, hey, anytime business to business shows up or whatever, I want QuickBooks to pre-fill it with some nonsense, which will remind me to go and correct it. So that's what I really do. I have QuickBooks pre-fill it with some nonsense. So, vendor, trust. I don't know why it won't search by the word vendor, but whatever. I'll just click the drop down, enable, my rule is active again. In case you want to see how I have my rule set up, you can see it right here. So I just said, put it into a category I would never use, give it a payee name or a vendor name can't be trusted, and then don't have an auto add because that defeats the purpose entirely. So the advantage for me in doing this is that I can see when weird stuff happens. That doesn't mean I can only have one rule. What I could do is I could say, all right, this has this rule applied, but what if I were to make a rule? Let's do this. I'm just going to make a rule for my Bank of America payment. So I'm catching a small section of it because I don't need this whole thing to be a description for QuickBooks to look out for. So I'm going to say, okay, well, I've just copied it. And then I'll go up to the top and I'll go to rules. I'll make a new rule. Be of a payment. Money out from any bank account the description contains. And then assign. Okay, so the category should be B of a credit card. Payee should be Bank of America. And then I can save. One thing that does happen is there's priority. So the software will identify like what rules to look at in which priority. So when we look at the bank transactions, it doesn't catch the Bank of America rule. But if I were to go to page 2, here's my Bank of America rule. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to move my rule up so that it has higher priority. Right now it's on line 52. I'm just going to click on the 9 squares on the left, kind of cheese grater looking thing, and I'm going to move it up towards the top. So I moved it up to the top. It's now rule number 1. All right, I hope this video has been helpful. I'm just showing you what I'm doing within my own QuickBooks in case it shows you something that you might be able to do for yourself or gives you inspiration for something that's driving you nuts. If you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to comment below. Thanks.